Welcome to Cloud Tech Talk channel. Let's understand the 7 best project management tips for beginners. Managing your first project brings one question that is between theory and practice. All the information you learned from project management examples, courses, the most important thing is to stick to the project management basics even as you feel like you're herding cats. Here are our 7 effective tips to succeed at project management. 1. Define project scope. 2. Assemble a cross-functional team. 3. Establish a work breakdown structure. 4. Use project management software. 5. Communicate and communicate. 6. Test your deliverables. 7. Perform a project post-mortem. Let's see how to define project scope. Our first tip for project managers is to define the project's scope and its deliverables. If project scope is not clearly defined, project creep will likely result from ongoing changes and/or expansion of the project's deliverables. Excessive scope creep kills many projects as they go over budget and miss deadlines due to an ever-moving deliverables target. Write a project scope statement up front to define the project's scope, time, and budget. A project scope statement should identify project objectives, deliverable, milestones, resource requirements, existing issues and potential risks, limits and exclusions. Other important thing, always consult with stakeholders. A project can be successful only if all stakeholders provide input on the final deliverables. The project manager does not identify a project's high-level goals. Instead, the project manager oversees the process to meet those stakeholder-defined goals. A quick recap of what we discussed so far about project scope. A project scope should contain objectives, deliverable, milestones, resource requirements, existing issues and potential risks, limits and exclusions. Now let's see our second tip on how to assemble a cross-functional team. As you know, a cross-functional team composed of people from multiple departments or with varying skill sets will contribute to your project's success. Team members with different backgrounds and perspectives will help you avoid groupthink and siloing while increasing innovation. So, project manager responsibilities include defining the key roles, responsibilities, and functions of each team member. Then, identify people with the hard skills set to fill each team position. There is more, however, to assembling an effective cross-functional team than technical skill sets. First thing to do is evaluate soft skills because you need people who work well with others. Evaluate the different soft skills of each potential team member to assemble a group that complements each other's strengths and weaknesses. Next thing is to choose the best people. It means selecting the best team members doesn't mean the people you find the easiest to work with. Best is determined by the project's needs, not yours, so don't be afraid to choose people with points of views and ways of working that are different from your own. So far, you learned about project scope and how to choose best people for your project. Next important third tip is about establishing a work breakdown structure for workload management. Once this is established, you can incorporate it into project tracking software as we'll discuss in the next step. A work breakdown structure begins with the final deliverables and works backward by subdividing them into smaller components regarding time, responsibility, and size to create a project roadmap. Use the 100% rule while defining WBS. The WBS must include 100% of project-defined work and deliverables as defined by the project scope statement. It should not include any no work outside the scope of the project. Other thing is plan outcomes, not actions. Defining actions, how things will be done, in a WBS makes it prescriptive instead of descriptive. Give your team members the ability to do work as they see fit if they reach project milestones as scheduled. For example, if you were designing a training course, first identify the outcomes, the knowledge skills people will learn. Then, identify the individual content blocks that lead to those outcomes. Finally, schedule time for each content block based on the total time allotted for the course. This WBS doesn't mandate how material is taught, only the content necessary to reach those outcomes. Hope you understood work breakdown structure. WBS 100% rule and plan outcomes, not actions. Our tip number 4: how to use project management software, because this is very important for you to showcase project plan. Make the time to learn your project management software's ins and outs before you and your team begin working on a project. This software can have a steep learning curve, so signing up for formal training will save you time later. If that's impossible, work through available online training materials, documentation, videos, webinars, and user forums until you're familiar enough with it to be a resource for other team members. Choose appropriate project management software. Project management tools such as Trello are good for more informal projects, but Jira was designed specifically for software development. Even first things first, to create visual task schedules. Another benefit of most project management software is the ability to create visual schedules and WBS for project planning. Whether it's drag and drop Kanban style lists or Gantt charts, visualizing workflow is helpful when you have overlapping tasks. So far, we discussed about 5 tips, and let's recap quickly before we proceed to tip 5, 6 and 7. Tip 1: how to define project scope definition or statement. Tip 2: how to select cross-functional team. Tip 3: how to build work breakdown. Tip 4: how to select project management software. Now let's move on to next tip, which is about communicate and communicate. Managing projects requires effective communication with your team and external stakeholders. Face-to-face and electronic communications should follow the Goldilocks rule, frequent enough to keep everyone informed without becoming a time drain for anyone. Everyone must know and use the same project management terms to ensure clear communication. Most project management software also allows you to archive project-related emails and meeting minutes to refer to and share as needed. Use 1-minute meetings. Keep meetings to a minimum because your team members have frontline work to do. Try 1-minute meetings where each person has 1 minute to give a status report. Be concise. Keep each email or online note, comment brief by making its purpose and any related requests direct and to the point. Let's recap tip number 6. Use clear communication and follow 1-minute meetings. Next tip for you is on how to test your deliverables in your project. You should test your deliverables at each critical milestone before moving forward. You must discover problems sooner rather than later to avoid taking several steps backward. Starting mapping outcomes to following. Ensures operational requirements are satisfactory. Verifies project deliverables function according to design. Validates proof of concept. Multiple testing methods exist, and the specific testing situation will dictate which ones to use, such as automated, compatibility, functional, integration, manual, regression, stress, or others. All testing, no matter which methods you use, has 3 steps. Create a test plan. Outline the overall testing process, including personnel, resources, logistics, risks, and tasks. Determine the test specifications. Identify testing purpose, methodology, and expected results. Implement the test script. Follow the instructions for each step of the testing method and the process for recording test results. Finally, you should learn last tip on how to perform a project post-mortem. Before you'd love to move on to your next project, after a brief break, once you hand off the deliverables. Before you do that, however, conducting a project post-mortem, also known as an after-action review (AAR), is essential. A post-mortem captures what worked well and what could be done better for future projects. Here are few post-mortems ask open-ended questions, for you to validate your overall project performance. What was supposed to happen versus what did happen? Why the difference? What worked, and what didn't work? Why? What would you do the same, and what would you do differently? Why? Let's understand the technique how to perform a project post-mortem. An effective post-mortem has two response components, individual and group. Individual responses, which can be via survey, questionnaire, or interview, encourage team members to speak candidly. A group meeting after you've collected individual responses allows everyone to share their thoughts and respond to others' remarks. You should always focus on team performance. Postmortems are not about individual performance. Instead, concentrate on overall team performance and workflow, which will also prevent last-minute finger-pointing. Identify and publish lessons learned. The post-mortem looks to the future. The things that worked well and you should do again are as important to identify as the issues to avoid, especially as they impact project budget. Finally, take charge of project management. We hope you learned project management tips and will start implementing in our current projects. Please subscribe to your channel for more videos. If you like our video, please like, comment and share. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.